Lance Reisland. Coach Riz joins the program. Coach, how's it going on a Thursday evening?
What's going on, my friend? Happy Thursday to you.
I am excited to talk to you, Coach, because it is preseason football time. We've got a dozen of these training camp practices under our belts. I did want to start the interview off, Coach, though. I just want to know, from a coaching lens, what are the Browns and Todd Monken going to be looking for in their evaluation process with Deshaun Watson against the Chicago Bears on Saturday afternoon?
Well, I think for all quarterbacks, it starts with Deshaun, and it'll be Shedeur in his start. You're looking for, first and foremost, the operation. This offense is calculus before the snap and addition after the snap. So changing a run play from right to left, making sure you might have to change pass protection. You might have to change the play completely. Then you have motion and shifts, and you have 6 to 10 snap counts. So just that overall operation. And this is a brand new unit. So you want to make sure you're getting on and off the field, not just the offense, but the entire, this is new coordinators. This is a whole new operation. So there's going to be some learning curve here. So they want to make sure that operations are done right. Then the next thing for me is anticipation and accuracy. Are you able to match your eyes with your feet? Is the ball going to the right spot? Obviously, it'll come down to making the plays when you get to week one. But I think they're looking for more for both these guys. Are you going to the right spot? Are you getting into the right play? And does the play look, are we getting in and out of the huddle? And are we doing it with pace and tempo and sense of urgency, attention to detail, and just kind of that, playing with your hair on fire? But on offense, a little bit different than defense. So you got to play under control a little bit. So obviously, this is a whole new offense. I think the progression has been really good. For me, the operation issues that have been, an issue, I don't think they're a huge issue, just not yet. A week from now, Nick, or a week and a half from now, then I start going, but right now they're doing so much. You can argue that the operation has been better than I thought it would be because of all they're doing.
Coach, if there are operational issues, pre-snap penalties, those type of things in this preseason game Saturday, is that worth, worrying about or probably not until later in the preseason?
Well, here's the thing. Operation issues, it's a kind of a broad issue. Is it the quarterback is not getting the play in on time? He has to go fast. His count is not as rhythmic as it's been throughout camp because he's in a panic or he's in a rush. Or is the left tackle just excited? Is Austin Barber getting his first snap just excited? There's a difference between that, in my opinion, right? So one guy just has nervous energy, ready to go. He'll get that cleaned up. You'd be a little bit more worried if the quarterback, just because this is such a quarterback-driven offense, the quarterbacks have such leeway, but it's going to take some time because to get into a really good play, they have to learn so much. So for me, the operation comes down to what is the operation issue? Is it a receiver jumping off sides? That's a bigger deal for me because they're looking down at the ball as compared to an offensive lineman. Is it a formation issue? Did the quarterback call it wrong in the huddle? Or did a young receiver line up wrong? Did they get the motion wrong? Did they get the shift wrong? Things like that. So it comes back to the quarterback. That's the nature of position. It's always too much credit, too much blame. But where is the operation issue coming from kind of tells you, and obviously that'll be behind closed doors that we don't hear about. But when you watch it on film and you're in that meeting, if it could be a fly on the wall, what is causing the operation issues? That's where if it's all quarterback, then yes, you're a little bit more concerned. If it's nervous energy and you're ready to play, those aren't good either, and those aren't acceptable, but those are a little bit more acceptable than, not knowing what you're doing.
Coach, from your lens, is it a big deal that Deshaun Watson is the first up and then Shedeur in preseason week 2, and we don't know who it's going to be yet? Obviously, in preseason week 3, I spent the whole first hour of the show saying how I do think it is a big deal and I do think it matters just because I don't know how many starters are going to play with Sanders against Buffalo in week 2. You know how that goes, especially with the joint practice. That's where a lot of their real work is going to come in, and then they're probably potentially going to rest a lot of guys against Buffalo in week 2. So I don't know how true of an evaluation we get on Shedeur. Do you think the order of how they're starting these quarterbacks matter any?
Well, I'm a little opposite. Obviously you and I always have good discussions about what's important, what's not. For me, it's not. And here's why. Because of this offense, there's a lot you can do. Now, he can't help pass protection if they get beat. But if he doesn't set the pass protection right, then that would be on him. If a guy gets beat and he has to scramble, that's not on him. Does he throw an accurate ball, but the guy doesn't get separation? Does he, is he on time? Does he anticipate? Does he get him in the right run play? There's so many things that you can do that are within your control in this offense that you can get a good look. And you are for me, anytime you're live bullets, and when you're going to, even in practice, Monken has made it more live around the quarterbacks. But in the preseason, you're going to get hit too. And there's a big difference between when you're getting hit and going through your stuff and not getting hit. And, for me, with this offense, everything he can get into, I don't. I think they're going to have plenty of reps. The reps have doubled in practice. The 11-on-11 competitive reps have doubled. And for me, after 13 practices, there's been too many highs and too many lows. There's been too many Shedeur is the answer and too many Shedeur is terrible. Too many Deshaun hasn't been good for 6 years. For me, that means absolutely nothing for what he's doing in camp. For me, it's everything they've done, and I've been very impressed with both of them. I don't understand the narrative, and once again, I'm very respectful to how people, because everybody looks at football differently. But I thought they've done some really good things because there's so much. It's like a receiver. You just don't catch footballs. You have to block. And as a quarterback, yes, throwing is the most important thing, but you got to do a lot right besides throwing it. And obviously, it comes down at the end of it. You got to make the throws. But leading up to it, and this whole kind of thing's leading to this test, I don't think it's a big deal. I think these both guys got to improve. There's enough reps in practice. There'll be enough reps throughout the training camp and throughout these preseason games in the joint practices. Somebody will kind of push themselves to the front.
Coach Riz, Lance Reisland joining us now on the Wise Heart Right. We make it right. Call Kyle Wright hotline. Lance, the Browns published that first unofficial depth chart that everybody loves to get their paws on. And Elton Jenkins, starting center, Tevin Jenkins, right guard. Do you think that's what they could potentially have up their sleeve for week one against the Jaguars as well? It feels like that Parker Brailsford injury probably just happened at the worst possible time.
Yeah, the wrist injury is bad for him, and it's hard when you don't get these camp day in, day out camp reps. It's really hard to even get caught up, especially as a rookie. Now, I look at it this way. Elton Jenkins being, when you look at a guard and a center, that's a little bit, he's been an all-pro guard, but he's a really good center. And you do so many things with the guards. It's, for me, the idea that he can play tackle as well, which he can, is super impressive. But those interior guys, they're pretty universal as long as they can snap in terms of their blocking responsibilities against an odd and even front. The thing that I really like about this, so having a quarterback who is either coming back from not having played, particularly well in a long time, or a young kid in his second year, having Elton Jenkins at the center, I think, is a big deal because he's a veteran and he can help with pass protection. He can help communicate things along the line to a whole new unit, where they need to line up, who they're getting to, who they're chipping to on double teams. So having that veteran presence at the center, especially early on in the year, is big. And then obviously if Parker Brailsford comes along, then you can have Tevin Jenkins be the swing guard. And obviously with Fano winning that job at left tackle, who's going to win the swing tackles? Are going to be Barber or Jones? But yeah, I think the idea, that you're going to have Spencer Fano, Johnson, the Jenkins brothers, and Howard, I think that's going to be your starting offensive line. And then, the swing tackle and what's going to happen with KT Levinston, who's been pretty solid at the guard. Those are battles I'm going to be looking for on Saturday afternoon.
What do you make out of Spencer's rookie training camp at left tackle? And is there anything that fans should be watching for on their TV Saturday against the Bears?
Well, the thing that, obviously when you look at him, he's an interview. He's a young kid. He's got a baby face. Obviously, there's some grown man strength that he's going to have to get. And even in practice, he's battled Jared Verse. But occasionally Jared Verse will get into him with that strength and get into his chest and move him backwards a little bit. There's two things that really stand out. One is he's a fierce competitor. He has not backed down from Jared Verse at all. And Jared Verse goes 1 million miles per hour on every single rep of every single drill. It's pretty impressive to watch. And Fano's been there right with him. And I love leadership of Verse because he's pushing him in practice and then he's helping him. They're fighting in practice, but after practice they're shaking hands. They're just trying to get better. But what you'll see why he was a top 10 pick is watch his feet. His feet are that of a tight end. He can move and he can get into those kick steps and get out to those. He will not lose many battles, even as a rookie, to speed rushers. Guys who go speed to power, he'll have some issues early in the game, but as things get tired, he won't. He's a competitor. And then as he gets stronger and stronger and stronger, he's going to be a in my opinion, a franchise left tackle because of the feet. The feet are absolutely amazing how light they are. When you see him move, just watch him when he moves out there. You'll see him when he's moving on screens and stuff like that. He's incredible in how light he is on his feet.
Lance, everybody's pointing to this preseason joint practice against the Buffalo Bills as a huge day for the quarterbacks and the quarterback competition. I'm actually curious to see how the defense looks against a good Buffalo Bills offense led by Josh Allen. Do you agree that that could be a pretty big test for Jared Verse, who has been pretty good, and newly extended Grant Delpit and Denzel Ward and company under Mike Rutenberg in their first season? What are your thoughts on that, and how good do you think this defense can actually be after losing Schwartz and Miles in the offseason?
Well, there's two things. Everybody say, you don't replace Myles Garrett. Everybody said that who's been out there every day, but Jared Verse is a very good football player. And one player doesn't make a defense. You don't replace a generational talent. I didn't want to trade Myles Garrett. I'm not a good enough coach. I always try to get better players, right? I try to get our guys in the weight room and develop them because there's a lot of really good coaches out there. But if you have better players, you win. And then if you get better players, then you create the culture. So what's happening with this defense is they have a great culture, and now they have great leadership. Obviously, Carson Schlesinger is a great leader, but Quincy Williams and Jared Verse vocally have been the leaders of the camp, and it's pretty great to see. So I think they can be – you're not going to have the individual talent, but I think this defensive line, Mason Graham's going to have a big year. Obviously, question mark of Malik Collins. Can he come back? Because he was playing at an all-pro level. Alex Wright has been super impressive opposite of Jared Verse, along with Isaiah McGuire. And then Quincy Williams, not only vocally, but he, I think, is an upgrade from Devin Bush, who I really liked last year. And then you have two elite corners, right? You have two guys who can really cover, one who's top five, and Tevin Campbell, especially in man coverage, is just elite. And then these safeties, Delpit and Hickman, and then this young kid, Emmanuel McNeil-Warren. He's a special athlete. Now, there's a learning curve there, but when you see him out on the field, his movement skills are through the roof. So, I think this defense can be as good. The big thing for me is not going to be the personnel. I think the personnel is great. And it's not really Rutenberg. Rutenberg's one of my favorite coaches. He's absolutely crazy, and I love him, and he's a defensive-minded guy. It's going to be his first time calling plays. So what does he do on 3rd and 4? That's what Schwartz was great at. Schwartz was a situational play caller who had done it for a long time and was very good. That's where the learning curve will come, I think, for this defense. And I think he'll get it as well. If they're going to have a learning curve, it would be early on. But Nick, there's some really good players at all three levels of this defense. I expect them to be very good very quickly.
Coach, give me one player, could be offense or defense, that you've been impressed with in what you've seen in over a dozen training camp sessions, plus another 10 to 12 OTAs, that just hasn't gotten that much time, maybe on sports talk radio or coverage on the social media streets, that we should be talking more about going into this preseason?
Well, I think that's a great question. So we've talked about all, the quarterbacks and how good the receiver room is and all these, the linebacker, we've done all that. But a guy who I've been super impressed with is Tylan Wallace, the pickup from last year. So I thought they had 4 receivers. I think there's a battle for the 6th receiver. Obviously, Jerry Jeudy, Casey, Boston, Isaiah Bond have been outstanding. Those 4, I think, are a lock to make the team. And then Tylan Wallace has been nothing but very, very good. And I thought he was a special teams guy only. So once again, that's why you got it. For me, I always try to get out there and watch him. He's been good in the slot. He's been good outside. He can run the motions with the little guys. He can do a ton of things receiver-wise. Now, that just adds to the depth of that room. I'm also going to throw in Gage Larvadan and Luke Floria. Whether they make this team or not, you would hope they'd be on the practice squad because these guys will give you a great look every day. They've been nothing but open all camp. But if you ask one guy, you and I and all of us, we talk about all these guys all the time. The guy that no one talks about that I'm super impressed with is Tylan Wallace. He just makes plays every day.
I absolutely love it. He is Coach Riz, the follow for all of your Browns-related football conversation at Lance Reisland on X. Coach, thanks so much.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me, buddy. I'll talk to you soon.